So, you're a bit bored of playing your A, D and E chords by now? Hopefully you're keen to learn some new ones. So, in this lesson today we're going to learn a bunch more. We're going to be learning A minor, D minor, E minor, G and C. Quite a few new chords. So, we're going to go straight to the close-ups and I'll show you the problem areas that most people have with the chords and we'll sit down and check them out. So, here we go. Over to the left hand please, Jedi Master. So, your first new chord is going to be A minor. So, for A minor, it's first finger on the second string, first fret, second finger, second fret, fourth string, and third finger underneath it, second fret, third string. Now, you'll probably notice that's exactly the same as an E chord, with all of the fingers moved down toward the ground by one string. When you're playing an A chord, it's important to remember that you don't play the thickest string, the top string. Common mistakes here is first finger leaning over and touching the first string underneath there, so watch out for that, and sometimes third finger touching the second string there if it's laying down. The solution to this problem is just making sure that all your fingers are directly pointing, so you're using the tips of your fingers. That's quite important. The second chord that we're going to learn is E minor. Now if we start off with an E chord, a regular E that we just learnt before, lift off your first finger and you've got E minor. Pretty straightforward one. Make sure third finger isn't touching the third string there. Again, strum, pick it out, and strum. Check that it's okay. The next chord we're going to do is D minor, which is shaped like this. First finger, first fret, first string. Second finger, second fret, third string, and third finger has to stretch out here to be on the third fret of the second string. Now a lot of people find getting this third finger up here quite a stretch. You might find that you can only get your third finger here to start off with. Do try and push it out as much as you can. The harder that you push it, the more flexible you will become. That's just the same as if you wanted to do the splits. You ain't going to get it. You're never going to do the splits if you just practice standing up. You have to push it so you feel it in the back of your hand that you're doing a decent stretch. Now, just like with the D chord, we only played the thinnest four strings. So remember, you'd strum, pick out, and strum. Common mistakes with this one is third finger leaning over and touching the thinnest string. And the other thing is, if your finger's right back here, you might find that you get this kind of effect, where the note doesn't ring out properly. You can either press really hard and get the note, or preferably just slide it up closer to the fret where you can press a lot more softly and get the chord to come out and sound great. Next chord we're going to look at is a C chord. Now if we started with our A minor chord we just learnt, so first finger there, second finger on the second fret, fourth string. Now instead of putting our third finger down here underneath where we would for A minor, we move third finger, stretch it out over so it's in the third fret of the fifth string. Again, that might seem like a little bit of a stretch to start off with, but it won't be after a little bit of practice. Make sure you give it a strum, pick it out and strum, making sure that you don't play the thickest string. The most common problem with this one is third finger laying down a little bit too flat like that, and also forgetting to leave that little gap here, which means that your first finger will touch this string. So making sure that all your fingers are nicely pointed directly down onto the guitar and are not laying over flat like that. It's got to be really pointy. That you do that by bringing this part of your hand a little bit further forward than normal for your C chord. The last chord that we're going to do in this lesson is a G chord, which looks like this. Again, we'd start first finger, second fret, fifth string, second finger goes down third fret on the thicker string, and third finger's got to stretch up and go on the thinnest string in the third fret. Now the most common problem with this is trying to get that note nice and clear. A lot of people have their finger quite far back. You've got to try and get it up to the fret if you can. Make sure that this part of your finger isn't interfering with the second string. Make sure that this second finger isn't muting the fifth string. So again, strum, pick them out one at a time, and strum. With the G chord, we play all of the strings. Okay, so hopefully you've got those 5 chords down now. Now there's a whole lot more songs that you can play now that you've got those tunes down. Some that you might like to try would be things like Knocking on Heaven's Door by by Guns N' Roses, which is the same as Rise by Gabrielle. Hit Me Baby One More Time by Britney Spears. There's lots and lots and lots of songs that use that. Have a look around on my website. There's a lot of suggested songs on there in the easy songs part. So maybe have a look at that. That's all you need to check out now. To start off with, just make sure that you don't try and apply the rhythm patterns to these things yet. The rhythms are the next thing you're going to learn. Make sure you practice your chord changes, changing between these new chords, particularly the difficult ones like G and D. That's quite a difficult chord change because it requires all your fingers to come off the guitar and get replaced. So spend a little bit of extra time working on those chords that are a little harder than the others. Always practice what you can't do, don't practice what you can. Okay, so the next thing we're on to is some more rhythm guitar, so let's have a look at that.